أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا وبعد إن شاء الله we'll move into Surah Al-Nahl and then Isra and then followed by Kahf. So in Nahl, the theme is much around the human faculties, because that theme is repeated in two places in the surah, one at the beginning and also then towards the middle or towards closer to the end. Also the question of human faculties comes up. Faculty of hearing, faculty of ascertaining or certitude, yaqeen. So we have the faculty of hearing, faculty of certainty, and then faculty of intelligence, and the faculty of reflection, or what do you call fikr. So we have all this in Surah Al-Nahl. Twice they are commented on. These four major faculties that God mentioned in Surah Al-Nahl, one, the al-yaqeen. The first one is iman or sama'. والله أنزل من السماء ماء فأحيا به الأرض بعد موتها إن في ذلك لآية لقوم يسمعون. So it begins with that. Allah sent water from heaven and brought the earth back to life. So kind of the theme of revival, to revive it, to bring the heart to life. That's the first thing. Because these faculties don't fulfill their roles if the heart is dead. So the first thing is the revival. That's why I begin with that. الله أنزل من السماء ماء فأحيا به الأرض بعد موتها إن في ذلك لآية لقوم يسمعون. That's a sign in that for people who hear. Why we mention hearing as the faculty in the end of that verse is because hearing is the basic characteristic of a living being, one who hears and responds. That's what makes somebody. That's what defines life. Being able to hear and also being able to respond accordingly. So he started with that. That's the first thing. In other words, in one's suluk, in terms of your spiritual development, the first thing we begin with is revival of the heart, or revival of the soul, if you want to put it that way, because a dead heart or a dead soul does not respond, and that revival is happened through the practice of dhikr. That's what it does. Dhikr revives the heart, revives the soul. So that's the first thing. Then he followed that by وَإِنَّ لَكُمْ فِي الْأَنْعَامِ لَعِبْرَةً نُسْقِيكُم مِّمَّا فِي بُطُونِهَا مِن بَيْنِ فَرْثٍ وَدَمٍ لَبَنًا خَالِصًا سَائِغًا لِلشَّارِبِينَ. And there is an ibra for you, a word that we have explained quite many times. There is a means for you to transcend. That's what the ibra is, abara, to cross over from al-masalul adna to al-masalul a'la, from the lower similitude to the higher similitude, or to the higher ideal. So you have to cross over. So anyway, there's an ibra for you in the cattle, because we make you to drink from what comes from their belly, and what comes is a pure milk, delectable milk, which comes from between blood and waste matter. That is an ibra for us. that something so pure comes from a context so impure, waste and blood. Yet Allah extracts pure milk out of it. So this is an ibrah for us, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can bring something higher out of something that is base, and something lofty out of something that is down to earth. So anyway, but that milk, inna fi labanan sa'iqan khalisan lisharibin, a pure delectable milk for drinkers. So the milk here represents yaqeen, certainty. So we have the iman, and then we have the yaqeen. So milk acts, it is the, I give you the certainty, it gives you the purity. So then we come to the next one, which is al-aql. And then in this case, it talks about the plants and how wine. So wine here is also assimilated to intellect, in the sense that I think we have also discussed that in length in some of our classes. Says that ومن ثمرات النخيل والأعناب تتخذون منه سكرا ورزقا حسنا إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يعقلون. From the produce of dates and grapes and so forth, you extract sakaran or rizqan hasana, a goodly provision, and a wine. Wine comes from this tree, this plant. So we see that even though water is at the source of all this, because of water, the grass comes out, and the cattle eat the grass, and that that's processed in their belly and becomes white milk. From the same water, grapes and dates come out, and from that is processed again and turns into wine. A wine that enables you to transition. That's what the metaphor of wine is about. It gives you, wine allows you to change your state from a waking state to a state of drunkenness, but drunkenness in a spiritual sense. So wine allows you to make that shift from sahaw to sakr. That's what I did. So there are profound meanings that Quran is putting here in a very, very simple language. So that is water, and this is milk, and this is wine. And then we end up, last one, وأوحى ربك إلى النهر أن يتخذي من الجبال بيوتا ومن الشجر ومما يعرشون ثم كلي من كل الثمرات فاسلكي سبل ربك ذللا يخرج من بطونها شراب مختلف ألوانه فيه شفاء للناس إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون. So fikr comes, and that comes associated with honey. Honey that heals, a healing, wholesome honey. So each of this, water, then we have milk, then we have wine, then we have honey. So that brings us to the rivers of Jannah. The rivers of Jannah are four, and these are the four rivers of Jannah. It is as though by exercising these faculties, we are tapping into these powers. The healing power of honey, the power of ascertaining in milk, or state of certitude, and the power of the transforming power of wine, and the reviving power of water. So this, as though as you read the Quran, these faculties they come into function, and they produce these effects. So that is to say that the person who has these faculties, the person who has the faculty of fikr, for example, his word is a healing. It heals. The way honey can heal, a person also can heal. More so. A man of God who has this power of fikr can heal. We know that Jesus used to heal. That's one of the faculties that he has. The faculty of fikr, by means of which he brings healing to happen. And that goes the same thing for what the man of certainty does, or the man of yaqeen, the man of aql, and the man of iman, and so forth and so forth. So this is one of the beautiful themes that we have in Surah Al-Nahl. I don't want to dwell too much on it. It will take us too long. But besides that, of course, all these faculties are based on what we call khawatir. Khawatir means intuitions. Because these faculties in potential is in every human being. It's the way it develops that differs from person to person. And the way they develop depends on the khawatir. Khawatir, the intuitions. What kind of intuition a person has? Is it a positive intuition or a negative intuition? You call that. What is the dominant thought in his mind? He thinks negatively most of his time in a day, or does he think positively most of his time in the day? And how much percent is that? So the surah also gives us that perspective. So this is the foundation of these faculties. If your khadir is good, to the point that the first intuition always that comes from you is a positive intuition. You think well. Whether it has to do with God, it has to do with people, it has to do with yourself, whatever. Your first intuition is positive. This is a very good sign. Even in children, you can start to see the early stages of where they are going in their life. If you have a child who is always positive, you can tell positiveness in children. They're always happy, they're always, And so it can also, from that age, a person who is very, very spiritually in tune, he can also already start to see the way that the children are taking from that age, because of the khawatir they have. Whether they have always a bad khawatir, they are always contracted, they are always not smiling, So you can always tell. Yeah. Anyway, those are the two khawatir that the surah presents, and in the people who think ill first before thinking good, or those who think of the worst before they think of the best. This is the people who start to move left. Ashab al-shimal. It says that in the beginning of the surah, they were told, what did your Lord reveal? ماذا أنزل ربكم? What did your Lord reveal today? What did they respond? قالوا أساطير الأولين. I said, no, it's just the tale of the ancients. So they already have a negative thought about what God has revealed or what God has manifested in this world. Whatever happens in this world is manifest. It's going to be manifested. So they have, from the outside, a negative approach. They said, this is nothing real. It's just a tale. The other group, people who have good khawatir, ماذا أنزل ربكم? What did your Lord reveal? قالوا خيرا. They said good. Maybe they don't know what God has actually revealed, but they simply know that it's khair. It's good. I know it, I don't know. Nothing will come from God except what is good. And the same thing you think about people as well. You think good about them unless proven otherwise. Until then, it's nothing but khair. So this one they think khair, this one is shar. So al-khawatir al-sharira, al-khawatir al-khair. This is itself a big topic. Talk about khawatir. Anyway, that's the very beginning of the Surah Al-Nahl. And then inshallah, that leads us into, just to sum it up very quickly, that leads us into Surah Al-Isra, which we spoke about a lot lately, because it celebrates the ninth journey of the Prophet ﷺ from Mecca, to Jerusalem, to Masjid al-Haram, to Masjid al-Aqsa, the horizontal journey at night, and then the vertical journey. So we are already familiar with that. We will not dwell on that. That is the kind of the main theme of the surah. And then that leads us to Surah Al-Kahf, which is also, as we have been talking about it very, very frequently in our classes. So most of you are familiar. But to sum it up is that there are 5 stories. Think about 5 stories. Each represent one of the landmarks on your journey towards God, or towards the ultimate reality. The first one is the cave, which is the death and resurrection, or sleep and waking. That means that before you actually come to real life, you have to die and then be resurrected. So the youth of the cave, their story represents that part of your journey. Your cave. You go in, you go back, you die, and you resurrect. Or you sleep, but sleeping by God make you sleep is one thing. Your nafs or shaitan makes you sleep is a different thing. So God puts you to sleep and then wakes you up. Because there's no waking that's not preceded by sleeping. So that's the first story. That's the moral of the first story. Resurrection, death and resurrection. And then that's followed by the story of the 2 men of garden, or the 2 gardeners, which is also talks about tazkiyatun nafs, purification of the soul. So that's the topic of that. The man who was possessive and counted on his money, his garden, and so forth, and did not put his trust in God. So that talks about purification of the soul, tazkiyatun nafs. And then you go from there, then you come to the story of Adam, which is the story about how to guard yourself against deception by shaitan, called al-ghurur. Al-ghurur, to be alert and vigilant and wise. And don't buy false hopes or false promises that either your ego promises you or shaitan promises you. So al-ghurur. So don't be deceived by these false things, false promises. Then there's the story of Adam and shaitan. It's about that, al-ghurur. وَلَا يَغُرَنَّكُمُ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا وَلَا يَغُرَنَّكُمْ بِاللَّهِ الْغَرُورُ. Don't let the life of this world deceive you, and don't let the deceiver deceive you as well. And then the next story is the story of Musa and Khidr, which is amply discussed many times. The story about how to follow a guide, what it takes to be a good follower and a good learner. So that's the story. And then we have eventually the story of Dhul-Qarnayn, which is the story of a human being reaching his full potential now, becoming a Khalifa, becoming a vice regent for God. And inshallah, that's all for today. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله من نفسي ولكم.